Dave from Geeky Guys here, and welcome to another episode of 18 Days Till Halloween, 18 horror movies and 18 horror movie reviews. Today we're looking at one that came out within the throes and the craziness of the COVID-19 virus and pandemic. And they went about it in a very interesting way, as you'll see as we synopsisize this. It was an independent supernatural horror film by Rob Savage, and it was written by Rob Savage, Gemma Hurley, and Jed Shepard. And it started off with a prank video that Rob Savage put together earlier on in the pandemic, where he was on a Zoom call or something similar with a group of friends, and he went around his house and heard a noise in the attic and basically spliced a Spanish zombie horror film footage into the video to make it look like a zombie was attacking him. And apparently some people saw that. The video went viral, which was probably the wrong word to say at the time, but the video went viral and they wanted him to make a more longer form version. And he'd done this with some of the cast that would be in the full feature film as well, so they were already familiar with the idea. The interesting thing with this movie is that all the direction was done remotely via Zoom with the cast. Most of the cast had to do they set up their own stunts, their own effects. Obviously they were taught first over Zoom, but they had to do them themselves, set up their own lighting, do their own makeup. So it was very, very much a film made pretty much completely remotely. The premise of the film is that a group of friends get together, as most people did every week, to do like a pub quiz online on Zoom together, and one of them decides it'd be a good idea to change it up and do a seance instead. Interesting idea. So they get a medium called Salen to come on and guide them through the process and try and make contact and do this. And obviously with it being a horror film, inadvertently they do end up inviting in an aggressive spirit, demonic entity that causes havoc, and the person that's supposedly there to guide them through it, her internet cuts out, which is very unfortunate. And then the things that they're told, the protocols that they're given to try and protect themselves, don't work, and then it's basically very much a jump scares movie, very much atmospheric, very much like sounds and shadows, people having weird things going on in their houses and then being kind of picked off one by one. But it's very fun, interesting, different film. It was developed and shot over 12 weeks, which was pretty impressive to be done in that time. It had a budget of 100,000 but only made about 443,000 at the box office, and so it didn't make a lot of money, but it didn't make a loss. And for that kind of film, I think it's only about 56 minutes long as well, so kind of you couldn't have expected too much more than that anyway. And people wasn't able to go to the cinema at that time either, so it was never going to be anywhere near a box office smash, even if it was worth it, because people were just not able to go to the cinemas to buy the tickets to make that happen, unfortunately. And in terms of anything else, the other interesting thing is that a lot of the cast played themselves, in that their character's first name was their first name in real life. Obviously they didn't use any surnames, but the vast majority of the cast used their own names, which you don't hear very often, so that was quite interesting. And the actors used a film treatment rather than a finished screenplay as the basis for their performances, as well as improvising and taking live feedback from Rob Savage in the background on another call as well. And Rob Savage would be typing on Zoom while they're in the middle of a scene, directing them and advising them things to do and how to go about it. So it was pretty interesting, and it kind of he didn't give them a lot of information as well. They kind of worked that out as they went along about their characters and the background and the relationship with each other. And a lot of the A lot of references in there as well, a lot of nods back to films like Blair Witch Project, Paranormal Activity, Lake Mungo, and Ghostwatch. And Host contains a few references to those movies during the film. And yeah, I'd say it's an interesting film, a little bit different, was of its time. As a lot of things were during that time, sort of 2019 to end of 2023. A lot of things that were difficult to do, things had to be done differently, things were restricted. So yeah, it's a very interesting film. It's one I actually started watching quite a while back, and for some reason didn't finish it. So I thought today would be a good time to finish the film and do a review of it. I mean, in terms of awards, they were nominated for in the British Independent Film Awards for Breakthrough Producer, Best Editing, Best Sound. Unfortunately, didn't win. The Hollywood Critics Association, they were nominated for Best Horror Film, but unfortunately, again, didn't win. And also in the Rondon Hatton Classic Horror Awards, they were nominated for Best Independent Film, which they didn't win. But again, if restrictions had been less, had they been able to do more with it, make a longer film, if they'd been able to connect more in person and do more sort of outdoor locations, getting cast together a bit more, having a bigger cast, and I think it may have been a very different story. But as I say, it's a film of its time. We all remember going on Zoom and doing quizzes and all sorts of things to try and keep ourselves entertained during those COVID years. So it's very, very relatable. And it's not a bad horror film. A little bit limited in certain ways, as we've said, but still a good, entertaining romp. And the cast are all pretty good, I've got to say, and their chemistries are all pretty good for saying they never met in person. They did everything online. That was impressive, and also the production and the directing that was done online as well is impressive. And the cast having to do a lot more things themselves than they would usually have people there to do it for them in other times. So that was interesting that they were willing to do that, and they did it, and it still worked out quite well. So a lot of good things about this movie and about the production process. Definitely worth a watch, and I think you'll enjoy it. And we'll leave that one there. I don't want to give you any more. I don't want to give you any massive spoilers as to any specifics that happen in the film particularly, so you can watch it and enjoy it. And we will catch you tomorrow with the next horror movie review. See which one we go for.